Welcome everyone to day 5 of the 28-day writing challenge. Just checking in with you today. Some of you may be writing books along with me. Others of you may just be watching the journey as I go along writing my book. Now, whenever I talked to you last time, I was a little bit behind, so I want to tell you what's going on. This is day 5. Normally I would be writing my first chapter today, but what I did was do some catching up. And so I had mentioned yesterday, or the last time that I was on, I had done some research and I had done some brainstorming, and so we had notes from some of the best-selling books and also 2 pages of brainstorming. And then I went through and I grouped similar items together. Well, today what I did was I went through and I titled those groups. As I was titling the groups, I saw that they were quite similar, and so I came up with similar titles. And I saw that those would make suitable chapters for the rest of my book. So I did that, and then I came around and I put the titles in the best order for me. Here was a list of where I came up with the names of the titles, and I know it's backwards for you, but then I had rearranged the order that I wanted, and then I did one more change. I started with chapter 8 because, as you recall, I had enough information already for the first 7 chapters. So I started these, numbering them chapter 8, going through chapter 16. And that last change that I made was I had a title for chapter 16 called Valuing Combats Fear and Shame. And then I had another title that said Valuing Makes Marriage Enjoyable. So I just decided to switch those two, where the last chapter would be a little more positive title. So these are the chapters that I have come up with. Chapter 8, Valuing Produces Trust, or I changed that later to Relates to Trust. Chapter 9, Valuing Encourages Both Husbands and Wives. Chapter 10, Valuing Recognizes Each Other's Love Languages. Chapter 11, Valuing Enhances Motivation. Chapter 12, Valuing Can Affair-Proof Your Marriage. Chapter 13, Valuing Combats Fear and Shame. Chapter 14, Valuing Gives Children Security. Chapter 15, Valuing Shows Gratitude. And that was 15. Chapter 16, Valuing Makes Marriage Enjoyable. So I'm looking forward to coming up with those chapters. Okay, so then I started working on the chapter writing plan for each of the chapters, and I came up with 12 ideas for chapter 8. Now, if you studied those blog posts that I talked about last time, which started on January 25th and they ended on March 2nd, those are blog posts at randysblogs.com. You have to go over about 3 pages into the previous blog post, but you can find those there. And so in that, the advice was to come up with anywhere from 12 to 18 ideas for your chapter. So for chapter 8, I came up with 12 ideas, and then I did what I was supposed to do, was to eliminate 3. This just stimulates your brain, causes you to think. Sometimes you combine ideas. This helps you get rid of some of your weaker ideas that you had. Sometimes when you're coming up with ideas, you just grab something here or there. So I eliminated 3. Didn't combine in this case. I actually eliminated 3 of them. That left me with 9 chapter ideas. And then over beside them, I put numbers, arranging them in the best order for me and hopefully for my reader. And then I turned those ideas into questions. And for each question, I came up with 3 trigger words or phrases that would stimulate my thinking about how to answer each of those questions. So here is the chapter outline writing plan for chapter 8. And I changed the title of that to Valuing Relates to Trust. Question number 1. When does building trust start? The trigger words or phrases are as a child, before marriage, and early in marriage. Number 2, why is feeling trusted important to men? My trigger phrase is men don't like to feel like failures. And then a couple of trigger words, motivated and reciprocal. Question number 3, why does trusting her husband build the wife's security? The trigger words, affair, alone, provision. Number 4, how does seeing your spouse come through for you build trust? Brings closer, confidence, happiness. How does being on the same page about money relate to trust? Eliminates fear, being okay with some spending, and giving. Number 6, why is risk-taking important, and how will trust help? Sometimes your job involves risk-taking. Sometimes delving into ministry involves risk-taking. And you can trust God. Question number 7, how does the trust that comes from being valued help when both of you are going to be at an area where you are around the opposite sex? Well, relaxed, free, and not jealous. Question number 8, how do policies about not being alone with members of the opposite sex build trust? No opportunity, stop before starting, and it can be difficult. Number 9, why will it take extra effort to restore trust if it has been broken in a marriage? And the key words are betrayal, again, and fear. So when I began writing, this is the secret to free flow writing. I'll simply read the question, I'll look at the trigger words, I'll start the timer for 5 minutes, and I will write as quickly as I can, answering those questions and with those trigger words. If I get through early, I'll just force myself to keep writing. Now in the editing stage, I'll probably get rid of some of that. But sometimes really good ideas come when you force yourself to keep writing. And if I fall short, I will just put an ellipsis there, and I will finish it later on in the editing stage. So that's where we're going with this. Now, I haven't done chapter 8 in the writing stage today, but I'm ready to go with that, and I'm motivated to do it with that. All right, for tomorrow, I'm going to come up with 12 to 18 ideas for each of the other chapters. And I'm going to start coming up with the writing plans for each chapter. But I especially want to do writing plans for chapters 9 and 10. If I do not write chapter 8 tonight, then tomorrow my goal is to write chapter 8 and chapter 9. And if that happens at that point, I will be caught up. How's it going for you? You can leave us some comments and let us know what you're doing. What's your idea for your book? How far are you coming along? Do you have some questions? Well, I hope you have a great day. And until the next time in the 28-day writing challenge, I just want to encourage you to remember you can write a book.